Welcome to my views and news. Thanks for watching. A Fano commander today made three interesting claims about Ethiopian Prime Minister, about the situation in the Amhara region, and about the security situation in the Horn of Africa. I thought of doing a video on that because the Fano commander is one of main Fano commanders. And the points he raised are very important points. He did not talk about fronts or the casualties. Maybe he talked, but the main points which he mentioned are of national significance, maybe of regional significance. That is why I thought of doing a video on that. Name of the commander is Asres Mare Damte, who is Gojam Fano commander. He is number 2 in Gujjam, you can say. Number 1 is Minakasi. Number 2 is Asres Mare Damte and Zenabo. He used to be a lawyer. When in 2023, Fano took up arms against the security forces, he was not part of Fano. I remember he used to appear in courts on behalf of Fano fighters. He used to be Fano's counsel in courts. And if I'm not, I did some videos I remember in 2023 when Asres Mare Damte was appearing in Ethiopian courts to represent Fano fighters. Then he went missing. And I think once he was detained. It was difficult to be Fano's lawyer in 2023. Government forces did not allow anyone to represent Fano. He was a victim of excesses by government forces. He joined Fano. Since then, he has been part of Fano. He's not I don't think he fought in Tigray war, if I'm not wrong. But we saw him in spotlight, under spotlight. In 2020, at the end of 2023 and 2024, I would say, at the start of 2024. Anyway, Asres Mare Damte has given an interview. And you know that he's one of 13 members. The 13 members who are part of the top committee leading Amhara Fano National Force. You see how influential and well informed he is, or he should be. Asres Mare Damte in his interview today raised 4 points. Firstly, he reiterated a claim that in Wollo, Tigray Peace Force fighters attacked Wollo Fano in support of the Ethiopian National Defense Force. Almost a week ago, a Wollo Fano commander made a similar claim. Asres Mare Damte reiterated the claim. Any evidence? No evidence. I think this claim made by Fano has been made to counter the statements of Ethiopian government officials and Ethiopian military generals who are saying that TPLF fighters are supporting Fano fighters. To counter this narrative, a counter narrative has been launched by Fano fighters. I am not aware of TPF's involvement in fighting in Wollo in support of the Ethiopian National Defense Force. I rely on my sources. I don't think there is any evidence which is convincing for me. TPF are not mercenaries. At least so far, they haven't turned into mercenaries. They fought against TPLF. They want to fight against TPLF, against Tigray military commanders. Even that will happen once they get the green light. They get the green light from the federal government and from their top command, which is in the far region of Ethiopia. So I don't agree with what Asres Mare Damte is saying. He is deliberately spreading propaganda, firstly. Secondly, He said that Fano averted war, a war between Ethiopia and Eritrea, war between Ethiopian federal government and Tigray. Basically, he meant that Ethiopian PM was planning to wage war on Eritrea, on Tigray. But now Fano is an obstacle to the plan of the government to wage war on Eritrea, on Tigray. Well, this point raised by Asres Damte is a confirmation of my reports. I've been saying from day one that Wollo Fano's operation in Wollo was a joint plan by Fano, TPLF, Eritrea, and Ola. On day one, I said that the Wollo Fano's operation was a master stroke played by Eritrean president against Ethiopian PM because Ethiopian PM was definitely planning to wage war on Eritrea. He was preparing his military, his generals, but Isaias Afwerki forced ENDF to be relocated from Afar to Amhara region to counter Fano's attack in Wollo. So yes, I would say that Fano averted war between Ethiopia and Eritrea. So it's an indirect confirmation of my report that Wollo operation was not just Fano's operation. Maybe other parties were just planning, but all were on board. One important point linked to it is that if the four parties made a plan to start from Wollo to avert the war, if Isaias Afwerki is behind Wollo Fano's plan to wage war there, first part of the plan is maybe defensive. Afwerki government wants ENDF to be relocated from Afar region of Ethiopia towards Amhara so that Eritrean border is safe. This is part one. Part two will involve offensive strategy to march towards Addis to topple Abiy's government. If that will happen, by the way, if part one was launched with the involvement of all the four players, then part one is not the last part. You will see more parts in coming days. Thirdly, he claimed, Asres Mare Damte, that Oromia special forces have been deployed in the Amhara region. Several Amhara sources are making this claim. It's not new, but for the last 2 years, they have been repeating this claim. They say Oromia special forces in the uniform of ENDF are being deployed to the Amhara region. They always say that. And they call ENDF ONDF. The most of ENDF deployed to Amhara is from southern Ethiopia. But they want to unite Amharas in their region. That is why they use this issue as a propaganda. They say that the bulk of forces, government forces operating in, federal forces operating in Amhara are Oromia Special Force, which is not true, by the way. ENDF should not be underestimated. It's not that ENDF is facing shortage of manpower. No. ENDF is a huge military. In border areas, yes, there will be deployment of Oromia Special Force. I mean, North Shoa, Amhara, Oromia border. Gujam, Horugdoro Valega border. There will definitely be deployment of Oromia Special Force on Oromia Amhara border. But to say that large number of OSF, Oromia Special Force members are being deployed to Amhara, it's an exaggeration. No evidence. That is why whenever a few Oromo soldiers who are part of ENDF are captured by Fano fighters, they just start a propaganda that Oromos are being launched against Amharas in the Amhara. By the way, Fano fighters captured hundreds of POWs in the last few days. If all of them or majority of them is from Oromia Special Force, why haven't they been shown in interviews so far? Though the statements of POWs are never reliable, they are always under duress, so that you should not trust their statements. But even propaganda statements could not appear. That is why I think Asres Mare Damte's talk of the deployment of Oromia Special Force is an exaggeration. Yes, in border areas, there is deployment of Oromia Special Force, reportedly. Thanks for watching.